It's obviously a much better performance last week against Sheffield in the Challenge Cup. What changed? What do you feel was different last week compared to the week before?
Well, I certainly felt that our effort areas were much improved. I thought the way we showed some competitive spirit about us. Again, that's something that we pride ourselves on here at York. You know, we like to believe that we're a team that don't give in and we compete hard for one another, and we're very much an effort-based team. And I certainly felt we didn't display that the week before at home against Whitehaven, and that's why I expressed my disappointment post-game and obviously to our players, because, you know, for me, that wasn't what we're about and what we represent, you know, and you know, I can understand sometimes, you know, the bounce of the ball may not go your way, or sometimes your execution might let you down at times. But one thing that we pride ourselves on having week in, week out is that effort and competitive spirit, and I didn't feel we had that, you know, the week before. So very, very pleased, you know, with the character that we showed. I think once again we had another poor start to the game. We found ourselves very quickly 16-0 down. So it was looking quite ominous at that point, and if I'm honest, you know, a lot of teams would have probably collapsed and folded, especially against a Sheffield side that are in the form they're in currently. You know, they've had a settled team there now for a number of weeks. They're playing some really good rugby league football. They're you know, they're a very good attacking team, as we know, and ask a lot of questions of you. And you know, they play fast. And you know, at that point, after about 15 minutes, with 16-0 down, you're thinking, is it going to be another display that we saw last week and the team would fold? But credit to them, they didn't. You know, they showed what they're about, and I was proud of that we got ourselves back into the contest. You know, we stayed patient. We fixed up a bit of our discipline stuff there, and actually we got in that arm wrestle and grind, and all of a sudden we're 4 points behind at half time, 16-12. And again, we just needed to show that element of composure early in the second half. We didn't. Unfortunately, we gave a penalty away on the first set, come up with an error the next set, and once again put ourselves under pressure. And that's, for me, that's been the theme for a number of weeks now. We're putting ourselves under far too much pressure, or giving teams too much of a head start, Sharon. So it's something we have to fix up pretty quickly if we're going to earn results. But certainly overall pleased with the effort and the attitude and the application that we saw on Sunday, albeit with a patched up side against a very good side. Disappointed, obviously, we weren't able to get across the line, because I do feel we were in that game. We fought back hard. We got ourselves into the contest, and if I'm honest, I think there was a big game-changing moment. You know, the tap back from Will Dagger to Connor Bailey. I think that was a try, and he scores that. We probably kick the goal, and we're 24 all with maybe, you know, 20 minutes to play. Chance of coming home and nicking it. So that was definitely a game-changing moment, but we can't focus on that, Sharon. We've got to look at other areas of our game that, you know, could have been better in, that may have not put us in that position. But I do think there was a couple of things that went against us that game, which ultimately, you know, could have proved dividends for us had they gone in our favour.
So effort and application back to the levels, or nearer the levels at least, that you expect. Is the priority now not only a better starting games, but just tightening up on maybe the error count and certainly the penalty count?
Yeah, absolutely. No, 100%. Yeah, ball control and discipline has to be, you know, key focus areas along with the start of the games. They're probably the three priorities at the moment.
Have you seen a difference as well in training? Because you said last week about how tough it was and the players' mentality. Have you seen a difference this week?
Yeah, no, we've come in obviously last night, and we addressed obviously the performance on Sunday, went through some things that we did really well, and made sure we reinforced that and highlight that, but obviously focus on some of the areas that we need to fix up. But the good thing is, you know, we've got potentially a few more troops back this week, or we've got a few more back in training, which is good. So yeah, naturally the energy's going to lift. So yeah, it's been a good start of the week so far.
There'll be one change obviously with Will Dagger's suspension, but do you feel that you're in a position maybe now to start and build a little bit of consistency, certainly in your halves?
We'll see about that. You know, but yeah, look, we are where we are. We've had a lot of different halfback combinations and fullbacks and the likes throughout the first sort of 7 weeks, going into 8 weeks, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Didn't like the way you laughed at that. Absolutely, at least. So you say you've got some players back from injury, I assume, in this case? Yeah,
look, it's Jesse D's looking good, has potentially been available this week. So, you know, we've just got to get through the last couple of bits of markers that he needs to hit, but there's a good chance he'll be available back for us this week, which is a big boost.
Did Brendan Santee come through okay in his first game?
Yeah, he did actually, which is great. He's come through really, really well. So really, really pleased with that one.
And Akumatai, did he go off with an HIA?
Yes, but past his HIA, so he'll be fine and available as well. So yeah, we've come through, for me, fairly unscathed. Obviously, we did have a couple of players carrying knocks into the game. We'll have to assess those guys and make some calls on them this week, whether we push them back out again or not. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment.
I say about consistency in the house, but overall, performance-wise, I guess you're looking for a bit more consistency now to try and build. That's
what we're aiming for. Yeah, I know that the team hasn't been consistent in terms of the selection of it each week. You know, we have had to, like I said, roll out there who's fit, who's available, who we think's the best fit for that position that week. And again, it's not an excuse from my side of things. You know, it doesn't help. I know that. You know, it's a lot of disruption. Like I said, a number of players playing out of position and having to do a job. But it doesn't excuse, obviously, some of the performance levels we've seen. But we've seen some encouraging signs as well throughout this period. And I don't think we're far off. You know, we've just got to hold on to that competitive spirit, tidy up a few areas there with the ball and defensively. And I do believe we can turn a corner. So I'm hoping, though, like you said, Sharon, I'm hoping in the next coming weeks we can start to get a little bit of continuity within the playing group and really start to settle it down and get some cohesion. You know, I'm just hoping that we don't have to keep moving the pieces around every week, which has been a theme for, let's be honest, from the start of the Cup games into the season and up to now.
So back into the Championship this weekend, with it being Halifax, we'll look at your opposition in a second.
Sure.
But is there a little bit more pressure back on you because it is 2 points at stake again?
Yeah, well, you put as much pressure on yourselves as you want to. You know, ultimately, it's the next round. It's the 8th round. We know where we are. You know, we're obviously in that relegation zone currently, but at the same time, you know, it's quite a congested sort of table there at the moment. You know, 1 or 2 wins and you're kind of back pushing for playoffs again. So, yeah, we've just got to focus, for me at the moment, on making those small improvements within our game, individually and collectively. Looking to make them improvements with our ball control, make those slight improvements defensively. And I'm hopeful then that if we do that, we'll get performances and ultimately earn results. And once we get that 1 win, hopefully that turns to 2. And like you said, you'll start to build some confidence. You know, the good thing for us is there's still plenty of time to go in this competition. You know, we were in a similar position last year, if you remember, for a longer period than this, and we managed to turn the corner. And I'm still confident in this group of players that once the penny drops and they get clicking again, we'll turn that corner.
Your opponents, Halifax, they've not had the best of starts either, so I suppose 2 teams in relatively similar positions. Yeah,
I agree. You know, I think they'll be the same as us, probably a little bit disappointed with some of their performance levels and what they've been sort of dishing up at times. But, and again, they've probably been a bit like us where, you know, a few things, they're playing well in patches, but not consistently well enough for long enough periods. So, you know, I think we've seen glimpses of us when we're at our best and what we can do, but it's just we're not seeing it too often for long enough. So, and Halifax are probably the same. You know, watching them, they're doing some really good things, but again, probably very similar to us, not doing it for long enough periods. So, I do think you're going to have 2 desperate teams this week. I think it makes for a great contest. But ultimately, we've just got to focus on us and make sure we're making those improvements to our game to give us the best chance we can.
Hendo, I can imagine the players will be in slight disappointment for sat in Wembley. Have you been pleased with their response to that?
Yeah, no, obviously, you know, I think we were in a position in that game where we potentially could have won it. I thought after what was a tough start to the game, going 16-0 down after about 15 minutes and really only having 2 or 3 sets with the ball during that period, I thought the character that the team showed to get themselves back into the contest and put themselves in a position to potentially win it, was commendable. Just unfortunately that 1 or 2 things didn't go in our favour and didn't go our way, which I think potentially took it away from us. But you can't discount Sheffield. They're a good side. You know, I thought they played some really good rugby league football, challenged us a lot with what they threw at us with the ball, and obviously deserved their place at Wembley, and we wish them all the very, very best in that game. But yeah, it's definitely an opportunity missed for us. And but what I was encouraged by was the fact that we didn't capitulate. You know, we were 16-0 down, and it was looking quite ominous. And you know, had we performed like we did the week before, then we'd probably fold there and get quite a big scoreline put against us. But we dug deep and rolled up the sleeves and showed some energy and some competitive spirit and found a way to get ourselves back into the game and only be 4 points down at half time, which I thought was a credit to the character of this team, and then to come out and stay in it for long periods in that second half, or only just to pull away at the back end. Again, I thought was a credit to our players, So, disappointed, but, we obviously go again now. We're back into the league campaign, and we've got an opportunity to get a performance this week now.
And just reflecting on the league campaign so far, obviously there's been a lot of questions about discipline of this side.
Yep.
What sort of work has been put in to make improvements on that?
Yeah, well, obviously, mate, we've highlighted it. We're highlighting, obviously, the impact that it's having too on the team and on the games and the outcome of games, and it's something that we have to fix up pretty quickly, mate. So yeah, we've made it very, very clear what we're expecting of players moving forward, and it's the test for them now is to deliver that. The fact is, as we start to get more bodies back now from injury, and we potentially look to bring some people in as well, ultimately now I can be in a position where if people aren't delivering and aren't performing and maybe not showing the right levels of discipline in games, well, they miss out. It's as simple as that. My hands have been a little bit tied as a coach throughout this campaign because it's players. There's been certain players probably haven't performed consistently well enough. Certain players haven't been doing the job well enough, but ultimately have been playing every week because we've had nobody else. So that's starting to change now, which I'm excited about. And and ultimately that's the only way you really truly fix it is, you can show things, you can practice things, you can try and make things happen. But if there's no genuine pressure of getting dropped or missing out on playing because, then that's where it really starts to come to play. When hang on, you're looking over your shoulder and you think, if I don't deliver a performance to this standard, I'm not playing next week. That's when you start to, guys then tend to pick up what they need to be doing a lot better, put it that way, from my experience anyway.
And one player you'll be without this weekend because of discipline, Will Dagger. How big of a miss will he be? Yeah,
well, Will's obviously, one of our players that's quite pivotal to what we do and what we're about. It's been a tough start for Will at York this year. He's missed out a number of games through injury and he's also missed out a number of games through his own doing, being suspended. So, it's a tough lessons for him to be learning at the moment. So again, I don't think we've seen the best of him at the moment. Part of that is because he hasn't been able to get any rhythm or flow into his game, and we haven't had him on the field enough, really. That's the bare facts. So I'm hopeful that he can fix up some of those issues, and the more opportunity he gets to play with a settled team as well and a settled spine, then we'll get the best out of him.
What's that relationship like then with yourself and Richard Mile? Obviously, played the Knights at the start of the season, now at Hull.
Yep.
How did that sort of come about?
Yeah, no, the relationship with Richie's fine, mate. At the end of the day, what came about of it was Richie took an injury, a pretty bad injury to be fair, where he tore ligaments off the bone in his elbow there. So it meant he was going to be out for a long extended period, and he obviously thought things through and was presented with an opportunity to go to Hull FC in a director of rugby role. And there's no hard feelings from me. I said that to him at the time. I said it's a great opportunity. I don't think he could have turned that one down. To basically come back and maybe play the last couple of months of a championship season and then maybe retire anyway. Like, why would you? You can't miss that chance. So there's no hard feelings from my end. I understood his decision and why he made that decision, and he went with certainly my blessing, and I hope he does a great job there. But our relationship's fine, and we already spoke about that, about keeping in touch and potentially building that relationship, because there's going to be times where we may need players, as we do at the moment, and I'm thankful that Richie's we've kept that good relationship, that he's been able to facilitate some of these loan moves for us as a club as well, which is great.
You mentioned how you need players, and with a squad that is quite thin right now, I can't imagine you'll have much to say about this, but there are reports suggesting that there is Super League interest in AJ Towles. Have you got anything to comment on that? Not
really. At the end of the day, AJ signed a 1-year deal with us. He's made no illusions that he's got aspirations to play Super League, as a number of our players do. At our club, we're hopeful that we can develop them, and we'll get the opportunity to play Super League with York. That's what we want to. That's what we want to be in the long term, and that's what we want to try and do, and develop some of these players to come on that journey with us. Now, ultimately, if AJ believes there's a better opportunity out there for him to accelerate that opportunity to play Super League elsewhere, then that's up to him, isn't it? At the end of the day, we obviously want to try and keep as many of our up-and-coming players with us for the longer term. But ultimately, I don't want to stand in the way either of a player who has an opportunity as well and believes that that's the right opportunity for them. So, yeah, there's not been any discussions at this stage around his future. We've not had those discussions yet or whatever. For me, AJ just needs to focus on certain areas of his game to improve, which he's been working on. He's got himself back in the team on the weekend. I thought did a great job for us. And hopefully we just keep working that development plan for him to improve him and ultimately make him a Super League player one day, whether it's here with us at York or where he goes on to bigger and better things away from us in the future, and we've helped him on that journey.
And the last one from me, Halifax coming to the LNER on Sunday. What do you make of them?
Well, the good side in terms of the playing personnel they've got there. They've got a good roster. They're a side that obviously experienced at this level, know how to win at this level. For whatever reason, they're not playing as well as they'd probably like to be playing. Very similar to us at the moment. They're a little bit inconsistent, probably not playing well enough for long enough periods in games. We've probably got two teams this week that I feel are searching for a win, are desperate for a win. And I think we'll see that desperation on Sunday from both teams.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.